another LLM project that you were working on before Llama 2 was Galactica. And so Galactica was a large language model that is, I suppose, specifically designed for handling academic research, scientific papers, and these kinds of scientific questions. The Galactica model was only live for a few days, I guess. So I don't know. It seemed like a really big deal, and then it was taken offline. So maybe tell us a bit about the project and maybe the thinking behind bringing it down, and maybe whether it will be back in the future.
Yeah, so there's this website which is one of the most well-known for researchers called Papers with Code, a company that was acquired by Meta. And so the project of the team was kind of visionary about large language model. They wanted a large language model for science that will help us to access information for science, to help us develop creative writing for science, maybe connect different ideas for science stuff, find some papers that you will never find on Google Scholar, just based on the ID. And that's what large language models are capable of, and that's what Galactica was about. And actually, that was one of the first open large language model that works pretty well. And I think people also, it was in some aspects far ahead of its time, and some aspects we made probably some mistakes on the way. It was only a pre-trained model, not an instructed model. And so maybe we presented it way too much as something that can answer questions, do things, and it will have worked so well after an instruction tuning phase. The second thing also probably we did not well was to overclaim a bit on the web page, saying it can write a paper. And I can understand how, like, for scientific person of working in the science, this will feel some overclaiming. That was not our purpose, but anyway, because of all the noise it was, and that was quite some noise at the time on Twitter and stuff, we decided to remove it. It was also a weird time because at that time there was a lot of people still criticizing large language models that were quite noisy on Twitter. And on top of that, some people from the scientific community that say large language models are dangerous for science, etc. And it was just 2 weeks before ChatGPT release. So that was an interesting timing.
Yeah.
I think, for instance, like, people don't realize how good it was at citations. I fine-tune it myself to give you an examples of following instructions. And when you say, like, oh, find me a paper, cite a paper about bias, it will find the paper, the most relevant, or language model. Or, for instance, to give you an example of maybe more, that will speak more, chinchilla, the scaling laws. I think chinchilla doesn't appear in the title of the paper. And so just saying, or scaling law doesn't appear, one or the other, I don't remember. And so just saying the model, what's the citation for chinchilla, which is not in the name of the title, it will find you, write it, and you could just click and add it to overleaf when you're writing scientific paper. So it was kind of connecting the things like that. And from the test we did, it was outperforming some of Scholars or Elasticsearch search engines. And I think as search engine, LLMs have not been yet well explored, but that's something big.